Hello and welcome to this little corner of my home, and we're going to speak today about colour and crystal healing. That's why I've got this crystal ball here, just in case people don't know what it is, ha. And here's a little bit of elapsed stone, and here is a tiger's eye my mother gave to me. This, I should say, my middle daughter gave to me. Bought it back from Eilat in Israel. And this crystal ball I got myself many years ago in Covent Garden. Now then, colour and crystal healing. As I have mentioned, I have this website with lots and lots of articles and features on it that will help people understand our spiritualist practices and our way of life and our philosophy. And this is page 15. And I thought, well, there are talking books and things like that, and why not read out a page? And you might find it interesting. So hello to everybody. I can see lots of people are watching, and welcome. So, a little knowledge is often better than none. And here I'm offering a simple explanation. It's an ancient art, the use of crystals and colour in healing, and it's suddenly become very popular in these latter days of scientific medical discoveries, and justifiably so. Now, there's recently been an upsurge of interest in the ancient wisdom that encompasses the healing properties of crystals and the colours associated with them. And there has also been a parallel attempt to declare it an occult practice by some orthodox type religious detractors who say that as it draws on spiritual energies, it can't be of God. Well, this is very mixed up thinking in my book. If we all accept God as the great spirit, the creator, then spiritual healing must emanate from that divine source. So we just have to pray for the enlightenment of those whose own religious belief system, most often those who call themselves Christian and quote the entire Bible as the literal word of God, heap their hellfire and damnation on spiritual healers who may employ crystals and colours in their therapeutic ministry. However, they always sneakily ignore injunctions or stories they don't like, such as eating bacon or wearing clothes of mixed thread, or even seething a kid in its mother's milk. And how about the healing cloths that St. Paul sent out to sufferers? And there are myriad references in those biblical texts to crystals, gems and stones. For instance, the prophet Isaiah in chapter 54 verse 11 says that God says, "I will lay stones with fair colours and foundations with sapphires," I wear one of those, "windows of agate and gates of carbuncle, borders of pleasant stones." Or John the Divine's Revelations, chapter 21, verses 18 to 20, in which he refers to many precious stones and crystals making up the heavenly New Jerusalem. It goes on to talk of more, and light that has no need of the sun or the moon. We followers of the spiritual way, of spiritualism, understand exactly where those sages and prophets of old were coming from. And then there are the general debunkers who call crystal and colour healing pseudoscience and talk about placebo effects, feeling better because you think or believe you're going to. In the Middle Ages, colour was thought to have an effect on certain maladies. This was also pooh-poohed by modern medical practitioners. Then, after some research, it was found to have a basis in fact, so too crystals. Light therapy is the newest application to alleviate many types of illness. Photobiology is the newly invented name for the scientific study of the effect of light on human beings. Light, of course, is the spectrum of colour we can see, consisting of the colours of our earthly rainbow, plus infrared and ultraviolet, and an electromagnetic field of various frequencies. Semyon Kirlian of Aura photography fame found that both organic and inorganic gems and crystals have their own energy fields, electromagnetic emanations. Now we know that spirit operators use similar frequencies for manifesting physical effects. We're still light years behind them, even though we now have LCDs, liquid crystal producing visible information displays, and silicon chips in our computers. Silicon is an element found in the sun and stars and occurs in many minerals, including quartz. So now we have some fight-back facts for hardline religionists and skeptics alike. Let's take a quick look then at the usually applied interpretation of crystals and colours in the assistance of healing. Now, I hope you're enjoying this. And of course, although it's going out live, you can play it back and get the knowledge, or go to the website and it's written out there. So I've called this a bit of basic know-how. Diamond, zircon, clear crystal quartz, which is white, spiritual awakening and more energy and relaxation. Garnet, jasper, ruby, red, stimulation, helps with pain, anemia and circulation. Amber, beryl and cornelian, orange, confidence, helps muscles, rheumatism, energy levels. Calcite, citrine and topaz, yellow for happiness, helps anxiety, skin problems, arthritis. Jade, emerald, tourmaline, green, peace and learning, helps heart and respiratory system, stimulates regeneration. Sapphire, turquoise, blue lace, blue for healing, helps with sleeplessness, inflammations, lowers temperature and is cooling. Amethyst, sodalite, purple, wisdom, inspiration, calms doubts and worries, stress, headache and hypertension. Tiger's eye, smoky quartz, brown, earthly, grounding, absorbing of sadness, helps strengthen generally and relieves aches and pains. An obsidian, black jasper, black is protective and can ease grief. Well. And of course, a lot of cultures use black as a sign of mourning, and people wear black. There you are, and it says it's protective and it can ease grief. Well, I hope you found these few points that I've collected together interesting, and even if you did know them already, it's sometimes helpful to have someone else's view. Now, for those who may be new to this concept and whose interest may have been piqued, here is some methodology to go with the stones and colours described. Now, depending on the ailment for which the recipient of your ministry requires healing, you may give them the crystal or stone to hold throughout the session. For instance, I had a very good outcome for a lady with severe spinal pain when she held a chunk of rose quartz during the usual spiritual healing, and I actually have a testimonial available for that in case you don't believe me. And another method is to suspend the crystal over the head or crown chakra of the sufferer and use circular movements while envisaging the relevant colour suffusing the body of your recipient. You can also energise water with a particular crystal, whether for bathing or drinking, not malachite, it is toxic. And then there's crystal ball healing. Well, crystal ball healing, crystal balls of course are generally used for scrying, but they can also be pressed into service for healing purposes. On a one-to-one basis, you can, the healer and receiver of healing, after a suitable preparation, place both pairs of your hands on the crystal ball. Now, this should be put on a suitable cover. I say in my pages, silver or gold, you can get cloths and things like that, or a charger plate, but here we just here. Now, a peaceful and calm meditative atmosphere should be contrived, perhaps enhanced by a waft of sandalwood or nag-champa incense. Candle light is preferable to harsh electric light, like what we've got here, or even daylight. After asking those who wish to work with you in the healing session to draw near, now I'm talking about our helpers and guides and spirit operators in the world of spirit, in those realms of light with whom we work, offer the usual prayer for protection and or affirmation that everything that's done is done only for good and truth and in the light and with love. And then you both sit quietly for a few minutes. You can, of course, visualise a healing colour swirling through the crystal ball and transmitting into and around the recipient. And because it is a crystal ball, you can encourage him or her to talk to you about their ailments and other problems, and the ball will absorb and dissipate the negative vibes. After about 10 minutes, as you feel the energy subsiding, gently pull away, cutting the link, remembering to thank those who've helped in the healing process. Now, this can be a very intense experience, so do be ready with paper hankies and water. The crystal ball will need cleansing in your usual way, and I find Dead Sea mineral salts dissolved in water ideal, or sea salt as an alternative, then rinse in clear water and dry. Well, as I say here, like every spiritual practice, some, one or none of these may appeal to you, but I trust you've enjoyed dipping in. Well, there you are. I hope that you found that quite interesting, and it will be beneficial to you, because anybody can do this, you know. You don't have to be a particularly holy person or do all the right things. I mean, you've got to be good. And by good, I mean do the right thing by other people. But you don't have to adhere to any particular set of rules and regulations in order to do this. Neither do you have to be celibate. I'm not suggesting that everybody should go out and be totally promiscuous, but if that's your lifestyle, so what? Quite frankly, what you need to have is a good heart in order to be a spiritual healer, and to utilise this method, which is very, very beneficial. It works, and this crystal ball is one, as I mentioned. I got this in Covent Garden about 30 odd years ago, about 30 years, and when I walked into the shop, I'd only just started, and I said, can I try out the crystal balls that you've got there, please? I want to find one that works. And they very kindly set out 3 or 4, and I saw this one, and I saw some little people in it, and I said, oh yes, that one's working, I'll have that one. So there you are. But it's been with me ever since, and it can be used not just for looking in to see what's going to happen next for people or what might occur for them, but also for this healing purpose, because it is what it says, a crystal, and it's been made into a ball, and it has all these wonderful healing properties, and why not use it for that? And as I said, now this is elapsed stone, and that's very, very nice. And I know that lots of people love crystals and stones, and why not? It's all part of our wonderful planet that we owe our life to, and why shouldn't we utilise whatever we can for good and for the good of others? Now, in terms of animal healing, I think that you could utilise crystals and colour, of course, for animals. And of course you can't get a little doggy or cat or anybody to put their hands on this, on the crystal ball, so you can sort of ask for the emanations to go through to them. But we know that if you use it as a sort of battery, if you like, that you can ask, and you could set it perhaps in front or near to an animal who's suffering, and ask in the same way that these healing vibrations could be sent through via this crystal to them, so it could be actually enhanced. So there you are. Well, I hope that you've enjoyed my Jackanory corner this evening. It's been interesting for me to tell you some of the things that I found out, and perhaps some of you would like to try this out for yourselves. In terms of readings from crystals and readings from colour, of course we can do that too, and perhaps I should leave that for another one of these talks. The colours that have been described according to the crystals in this talk, you can actually use for healing just by visualising those colours and placing them around the person who requires the healing. So if you find out that they have a particular problem, you can check, if you like, with this talk on the website. There's a list, you know, if they're anemic, for instance, you want to give a nice red glow to them, you can do that by envisaging that colour, and it is very beneficial and it does work. Well, there you are. I hope that you've enjoyed this chat. I certainly enjoyed chatting to you. And hi, Lynn. We go back a long way. I remember the first message that I ever gave. I didn't know what I was talking about. Well, do we ever? And I was rambling on, I believe, about one of your relatives who was showing me a fish, and it turned out that was actually his nickname, which was a bit cool. And of course, he was linking up with me because he was a good skater, and I'm a skater. I'm not going to say I was good, but there you are. We had that interest in common. So I want to send my love to all of you. Thank you so much. It makes me feel good, and that's one of the benefits, of course, of being a spiritual healer, because when we give healing, we receive healing. And if we're feeling a bit low or depressed or any aches and pains, whatever ails us, it's actually relieved by the healing that we give to others. So there you are. So I'll say have a good evening, have a good rest of the night. If you're just waking up or you're having your lunch, because of course we go around the whole globe. And what I've noticed is when I've looked at my statistics on the website, for instance, I have about 50%, no, not 50, sorry, about 47% in the United States of America and North America, about 50% here, and the other percentages are Australia and around the world. So there you are. So we're all in good company, a worldwide company, and I see that we have got somebody in Russia there, as I was saying about the time. So we ought to have one of those international time zone clocks on this, so we could all see what time we're all at. But that's why I now put Greenwich Mean Time on my little posts when I say when I'm going to be doing this. As I say, it is written out on my website. It's page 15 on the www.lingestiswalk.com. And there's lots more stuff there that you may well be interested in. So happy healing to all of you. Happy crystal and colour healing to all of you. And don't forget, it's backed up by the Bible, so it must be right. Okay? So don't forget to quote those Bible chapters and verses to all those people who want to bash us with them and say that we're doing the wrong thing, because God can't be wrong. There you are. So I'll say cheerio for now. God bless you. Bye for now. Bye. Unless, of course, anybody's got anything they want to ask. I can see that people are watching, but I can't see any comments. Perhaps nobody is commenting. I suppose it is a little bit of a blast, isn't it? When I start talking, who's to interrupt, we ask ourselves. But, oh, Denise, oh, bless you. Thank you. I shall assume that everybody knows a lot, which I'm sure you all do. And there aren't too many questions that I haven't covered the answers for in my talk. So I hope that you enjoy your little dabble with the crystals and with the colours, and that it makes you all feel better, and the people that you come into contact with feel better as well. There you are. So I say bye, and God bless you all.